please subscribe. Okay, I am going to start the lesson now. Hello everybody, this is Jack from tofluency.com, and on this channel you can learn English with me live. So if you are here live, then please say hello in the chat box. If you're new here, this is what the chat box looks like. We have Leroy Jesus, who is putting the lyrics of the American anthem. We've got Stas here as well. Miriam and a bunch more people are going to join us over the next 30 minutes or so. Again, if you are new to this channel, then this is where you can learn English in a fun way. And please watch the entire lesson so you know exactly how I teach. And if you are new, just click the subscribe button before we get started. If you've been to these lessons before, you'll know that I'm going to ask you questions and I want you to respond in the chat box. We are going to talk about Halloween today. Not completely about Halloween, but today is Halloween. So happy Halloween to you. We're going to look at some idioms that we can use that are related to Halloween. And I got these idioms from one of my friends who is also an online teacher. So we'll discuss that later. We're also going to talk about the 3 questions that I asked most in coffee shops. Speaking of coffee, I am having some coffee now. I had 2 cups of coffee this morning at a local coffee shop. So I am full of caffeine, and that is the best way to teach. We've got Olga here, Rashid, Salwa, Rodrigo, Berus, Rudy, hi, Tiago, Manuel is here as well. Ollie Twist from Russia, Nafi, Hayam, lots of familiar names and faces. So this is great. We are going live 2 or 3 times per week now. And this is called the Tofluency Show. This is where I give live English lessons on YouTube. Quick question. Did anyone watch the live lesson that I gave on Facebook this morning? Just let me know, yes or no. I'll go back to the comment section. YOLO says, yay, finally I can catch you live on YouTube. Samuel says, happy Halloween, Jack. Bimal, how are you doing? Very well, thank you. Anna, this is my first time. Manuel says, have you got a costume for tonight? You just reminded me I don't have a costume yet. I need to get a costume on my way home from work. I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know what I'm going to do. And in fact, I just forgot that we're going to a party tonight. So I need to do something. And I need to do it today. It's my last chance to do it. Thank you for reminding me. We have people from Azerbaijan, Paris. Anna Paula is here. A few people watched the live lessons, some haven't. So if you didn't see the live lesson I gave on Facebook, go to facebook.com/tofluency. Tofluency. Okay? Add me on Snapchat, Tofluency. Instagram, Tofluency. You get the picture. You get the picture. Okay, let's go to the presentation. Speaking of pictures, here is a picture I took in the coffee shop this morning. So I took this picture in a coffee shop this morning. And I said in the caption, having some delicious coffee while working on today's live lesson. Come and join me at 12:30 p.m. youtube.com/tofluency. Like I say, nearly everything is Tofluency. Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. VK is Jack Askew. vk.com/Jack Askew. But anyway, I went to a coffee shop this morning. This morning was crazy. This morning was crazy. I'm going to tell you why in a second. But I went to a coffee shop this morning to prepare for today's live lesson. Now, I haven't been able to do any work since Friday. I wanted to do a lesson at the weekend, but I've had no time. I've spent every minute either cleaning the house, doing some admin, helping my wife, looking after my daughter, looking after my son, going to parties, etc. This weekend has been so busy. It's been very hectic. And that's the word of this lesson, hectic. When things are hectic, it means you have lots of things to do all at the same time. You don't have any time to breathe. You don't have any time to do something on your own. So this weekend and this morning, it's been very hectic. But I went to the coffee shop and it was just great. Just to get away, to get out of the house, to be in a different environment and to work, to do some work. Now, what I'm going to do is introduce 3 questions that I almost always ask when I'm in a coffee shop. So here are those questions now. The first one is this. Which coffee do you recommend? Which coffee do you recommend? So let's repeat. You know, I like you to repeat in live lessons. If you're on a bus, repeat. If you're in bed and your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife is asleep, repeat. I want you to repeat no matter where you are. Are you ready? Which coffee do you recommend? Which coffee do you recommend? Now, I ask this question because in most cafes, in most coffee shops, they have 2 options from the drip coffee. You can get a cappuccino or a latte or a mocha or these fancy drinks, but I normally get regular coffee, and this is called drip coffee. It's like the house coffee. And usually they have 2 options. And I usually say, which coffee do you recommend? And then they'll tell me, well, this one is darker and it's got chocolate in it. This one is lighter. I always say, I'll have the dark one, please. The dark one. Good. Let's have a look at question number 2. What's the Wi-Fi password? What's the Wi-Fi password? So when I go to a coffee shop, it's usually because I take my laptop, which is on the floor, you can't see it, but I take my laptop and I do some work. This morning I created the lesson in the coffee shop, and I also sent an email out to everyone who is on my email list. Now, while I'm talking about this, if you're not on my email list yet, you can get my free book and you can get my emails to fluency.com/book. There is a link in the description. Let's go back to this. What's the Wi-Fi password? I always ask that in a coffee shop. Let's just see the comments. We've got people writing these down, which is great. Salwa says, I recommend cappuccino. So are you going to have a cappuccino after this video? Baru say, I like Turkish coffee. Olga, I like coffee and milk. Manuel recommends Starbucks. Starbucks is a huge chain of coffee shops. Where I live, there are a lot of independent coffee shops, which is a great thing because usually local families own this business and then all the money stays in the local economy. So when you buy local products, then the money stays in the city. That is a huge thing here in Asheville for beer, for wine, for gifts, food. Everyone likes to buy local. Baru says, I use my mobile data service. Yeah, you can use your mobile data too. Usually, Wi-Fi is a lot faster. Let's have a look. I like Nespresso. Yeah, Nespresso is becoming really popular now around the world. I think in Spain, George Clooney is in the commercials. He is in the adverts for Nespresso. So let's practice. What's the Wi-Fi password? And again, what's the Wi-Fi password? Good. Now, usually I get a cup of coffee in the cafe And then about 20 minutes later, I ask this question. Just read this to yourself. Can I get a refill? Can I get a refill? So what I'm asking here is when I say, can I get a refill? Is, can you pour me more coffee? Can you pour me more coffee? And usually I actually ask a question when I'm buying the coffee. I ask something like, what's the deal with refills? What's the deal with refills? Because different coffee shops have different policies. Some say you get a free refill. Some say you get a free refill if you buy some food. Others say the next cup, a refill, is $1. The place I went to this morning, they had free refills. So it's a place I'm going to go to again. Can I get a refill? Let's practice this. Can I get a refill? Can I get a refill? Good. Look at this picture on your screen now. Look at this picture. It's very artistic, and it represents two of the main things associated with Halloween. We have a pumpkin and we have bats. Those are two main things associated with Halloween. And everybody, happy Halloween. It's Halloween today. People love Halloween here. One person though who doesn't, well, they like Halloween, but it can get very stressful, is the teacher at my son's school, because they've had to do so much to prepare for Halloween. They've had to do so much to prepare for this holiday. It can be quite stressful this time, especially for people who have a house that gets visited by trick-or-treaters. Now, in the description, I talked about trick-or-treating in a different video. So if you want to learn more about trick-or-treating and some English vocabulary related to Halloween, then definitely check that out. But I do want to introduce this phrase here, this question that everyone is asking right now. What are you going as for Halloween? What are you going as for Halloween? Now, this might seem a little bit strange, this question, but what people are asking here is this. What costume are you going to wear? What costume are you going to wear? And I'm just going to give you some more examples now. So, for example, my son went as a dragon to school today. He went as a dragon. He went as a dragon. So it's to go as something. What costume are you going to wear? What person or thing are you going to represent? I don't know what I'm going to go as this afternoon, but I do have this mask, which is a pretty cool mask. My son loves it when I wear this. And this is obviously a gorilla mask. So at least I have a mask. At least I have something. But I need to get more. I need to get more, a costume that I can actually wear. Let's have a look at the comment section. Alan is here. Good to see you. In Scotland, we say gussying instead of trick-or-treating. How interesting. Refill is not so popular in Brazil. Maria asks, how's the weather like there? The weather's great. It's better to use what? What's the weather like? It's fantastic here. The weather is really nice. We celebrate Halloween tonight in our country. Now it's 8:20. Alan, thank you for helping people. Josh is here. Josh is a photographer from South Carolina. I saw your comment, Josh. I actually did a work exchange with someone who took some photos of us, but let me know when you come to Asheville next. LaRue says nothing because in my country it isn't a traditional event. My son likes Dracula. I think that one is. You said you'll be a Gruffalo. Okay, I've got a story. I was going to be a Gruffalo, but the costume wasn't delivered in time. There was a delay with the costume, so I can't go as a Gruffalo. That's what I was going to be. Maybe my wife is going to make this costume for me today, but I doubt it. I doubt it because she's so busy. So maybe a Gruffalo, but we'll have to see. Guzzying, or guising. Sorry, let me get this correct. Alan, guising? Is that correct? Guising? Let me know. But the question is here, what are you going as for Halloween? So let's just repeat this. What are you going as for Halloween? What are you going as for Halloween? Very good. There's another picture on your screen now. Take a look at this. This is from my Snapchat account. On the right, you can see my username to Fluency. If you are on Snapchat, if you use Snapchat, then please follow me. You can also follow me on Instagram too. But look at the picture on the left. I made the video this morning and I talked about how we left making my son's outfit, my son's costume, until the last minute. Okay? So I left making my son's costume until the last minute. Now, to leave something to the last minute is very popular. A lot of people do this. Students, anyone really. Think when you were in school and your teacher gave you homework. Did you leave it until the last minute? Did you leave it to just before the deadline to do your homework? Let me know in the comment section if that's something that you did. First, I just have a comment I wanted to read from Sarah. I'm watching this live lesson even though I have an assignment I have to do. You have to prepare for an exam and have to study for it. I like your lessons, teacher Jack. Thank you. Very good. Let's go back to the comment section. Sarah, I already follow you on Snapchat. Sebastian, I'm grateful for you for doing these live lessons. Baruz, we decorate our house with pumpkins. Someone said you are beautiful in this picture. This picture on the left. I think I look terrible. On the right, I look cheeky and happy. But thank you anyway. Thank you anyway. Valentina, sometimes yes. Sometimes yes. I'm a deadliner. Yeah, leave things until the last minute. I've got some examples of what I leave until the last minute. Taxes, trying to organize all my taxes, I leave it until the last minute. Packing for a vacation or a holiday, I always leave it until the last minute. But the thing with that is there are a lot of things that I use that I want to take on vacation, on holiday. Things like my toothpaste, contact lenses, anything like that. Usually I just wait until the last minute for those types of things. Let's have a look. No, I don't. Heiter says I'm online. What's the difference between as and us in pronunciation? As, us. Hopefully you can hear that difference. I don't know what that means. Heiter says I'm late. A little bit late, but you're here. Which do you prefer, Instagram or Snapchat? I used to prefer Snapchat, but now I probably prefer Instagram. Instagram stole the features of Snapchat, the stories, but I don't care. It's fun. I love using these types of apps, these social media channels. Let's go back to this. So we left making my son's outfit, his costume, until the last minute. Now, are you guys ready for some statistics on Halloween? More specifically, how much people spend on this holiday, or how much Americans spend on this holiday. Let's have a look at that now. I'm going to read this, and what I want you to do is to read and listen at the same time. This is from 3 years ago. In 2013, Americans spent an estimated $6.9 billion to celebrate Halloween, including a predicted $2.6 billion on costumes, with more spent on adult costumes than for children's costumes, and $330 million on pet costumes. I'm going to read that again. In 2013, Americans spent an estimated $6.9 billion to celebrate Halloween, including a predicted $2.6 billion on costumes, with more spent on adult costumes than for children's costumes, and $330 million on pet costumes. And that is from Wikipedia. It's a lot of money. $6.9 billion is spent on Halloween. Now, I know that it can get expensive for certain houses in Asheville. And I think I mentioned this in the last Halloween lesson I made, but there are a few streets in Asheville in different neighborhoods that really go crazy for Halloween. Everyone decorates their house in an amazing way, and then all the kids from that neighborhood go to this street and they go trick-or-treating. Okay? So they go trick-or-treating. And what you have is each house has a line of 10 to 20 children waiting to go and say trick-or-treat. And this happens for hours, from about 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. or later. And the amount of candy and sweets, a little bit of a difference here. Candy is American English, sweets, British English. I'm going to use candy because I'm in America. The amount of candy they have to buy is crazy. And in fact, they take donations. So the neighborhood, they donate candy to these houses because otherwise they would spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So this is where money is spent, on costumes, decorations, throwing parties, on candy, all these different things. It gets to not 6.9, let me have a look at the stat. $6.9 billion is spent in America on Halloween. What amazes me though is that $330 million is spent on pet costumes, which is just so much money. It's so much money. So that's a really cool stat for you to learn. Let's have a look at the comment section. Anna says, I leave everything until the last minute. If you say I left everything until the last minute, you're talking about a specific situation. You speak slowly, and that's really easy to understand. Very good. Incredible, crazy, it's a huge number. I'm surprised why Halloween is such a popular holiday. Let's have a look. Alan says, I need to sneeze, I think. But Alan says, in an hour or two, I'll be expecting kids to come to my door, but not so many since I live in a small town. Only 20,000 people live here. Sebastian says, is there a difference between Halloween in England and America? Yeah, it's more popular in America. People celebrate it in a bigger way. So people really celebrate it here in a big way. Here we spend so much money on Mother's Day and Christmas. Yeah, that's kind of similar here. A lot of people spend money at Christmas too. In fact, it's the season when people spend a lot of money. Firstly, Halloween, then Thanksgiving, so people travel, but the day after Thanksgiving, people spend money on buying new things. And then Christmas and New Year's Eve. So this is a period when people are spending a lot of money. Let's have a look at the next slide. And I want to introduce a teacher. This is a website called English with a Twist. I wrote a guest post on here, and this is Shanti. In the bottom right hand corner, this is not from Wikipedia, but you can see this is the website English with a Twist. And I found this post that Shanti made talking about idioms related to Halloween. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to this post. But here are 3 of the idioms that Shanti discussed, and I've given my own examples. And these are related to Halloween in a certain way. So here's number 1. Not a cat in hell's chance. Not a cat in hell's chance. Quick question. Do you know what this means? If someone says, not a cat in hell's chance. Now you can probably guess what it means due to the language. So maybe try and guess. If you don't understand what it means, you can always guess. And I'm going to give you an example. And this is a true story. We didn't have a cat in hell's chance of winning at trivia night. We didn't have a cat in hell's chance of winning at trivia night. So trivia night is when you go to a local bar or a pub and you answer questions in teams. Usually sit around a table, you have your own team, there are other teams there, and you answer questions. And then at the end, you give in your sheet, your answer sheet, and then you see who wins. But when I used to go to trivia nights, we didn't have a cat in hell's chance of winning at trivia. Now, if you say this, what you're saying is in a very strong way, we didn't have any chance. There was zero possibility of us winning at trivia night. There was zero possibility for us winning at trivia night. So it's an idiom that we can use when there is no possibility of something happening. Not a cat in hell's chance. So let's just repeat this sentence. You know, I like to repeat sentences. And this is going to help you with your fluency. Are you ready? If you're on the bus, repeat. If you are in a local park, repeat. No matter where you are, I want you to repeat out loud. Are you ready? We didn't have a cat in hell's chance of winning at trivia night. We didn't have a cat in hell's chance of winning at trivia night. Very good. Let's move on. After this lesson, I'm going to leave these examples in the description. So please check it out. Hey Amas, what does it mean? So again, this means that we didn't have any chance. We had zero. There was zero possibility, 0% chance of us winning. Let's look at number 2. Stab someone in the back. To stab someone in the back. Do you know what this one means? Do you know what this one means? To stab someone in the back. Here is an example. Don't trust him. He stabbed me in the back. Don't trust him. He stabbed me in the back. Now, this one means to betray someone. So, for example, maybe, okay, imagine that, you know someone at work, and this person at work is helping you on a project. And they ask you for your help, to help them on their project. And you work on it, you help them, You spend hours and hours helping them. And they tell you, great, I'm going to tell our boss that you helped me. And then the next day, they give the presentation, the project to their boss. And they say, I did it all myself. No, he didn't help me. She didn't help me. I did it all myself. This is stabbing you in the back. This is when they tell you that they're going to do something, but they don't do it. And you lose the trust in them. Okay, so it's to betray you. To betray you. Let's just have a look at this again. Don't trust him. He stabbed me in the back. So then you can tell other people that the person who did this isn't trustworthy because they betrayed you. They stabbed you in the back. So obviously this is idiomatic. It's not literal. But let's practice this. Let's repeat it. Don't trust him. He stabbed me in the back. Don't trust him. He stabbed me in the back. Very good. I'll have more examples in the description. Here is number 3. To be scared stiff. To be scared stiff. Do you know what this one means? Do you know what this one means? To be scared stiff. Here is an example. I was scared stiff when that bear came into our yard. I was scared stiff when that bear came into our yard. Now here is a visual of what it's like to be scared stiff in a more literal sense, okay? So it's when you can't move. You can't react because you're so scared that you freeze. You have so much fear. Exactly, Federico, you have so much fear. Rodrigo says to be really frightened. Exactly, to be scared stiff. So look at your screen again and look at this picture. What do you see? What do you see? Federico says don't move your muscles. Exactly. You can't move your muscles because you're scared stiff. So this is a bear, and this a few years ago came into our yard. It came into our garden, and then it climbed our neighbour's tree and it slept in the tree for about 2 hours. Now, when this happened, I was actually in an English lesson. I was giving an English lesson and I saw the bear climb in the tree. In fact, I heard our dogs barking like crazy. They were barking like crazy. And our neighbour saw the bear come through our yard. Our dogs scared the bear. The bear ran, jumped over the fence and climbed the tree. And it stayed there for about 2 hours. So, this is to be scared stiff. If they're out in the woods, if they're out in the forest, and they see a bear, usually they are scared stiff. You're really scared, you're really shocked, like Baru says, about the situation. Let's practice this. I was scared stiff when that bear came into our yard. I was scared stiff when that bear came into our yard. Here are the comment section. Sebastian, I was scared stiff when I saw ghost riders in the sky. Baruz, you are shocked. Exactly. Someone says, oh God. Baruz says, grizzly bear. This is actually a black bear. A black bear. So we live in an area with black bears. I haven't seen another bear since. I saw a dead bear on the highway, which was really sad. I mean, it was huge bear, and it was dead by the side of the road. But I haven't seen any of the bears. Right now, the bears are a little bit aggressive because they're trying to eat as much food as possible so they can hibernate over winter. But there are a lot of bears, and apparently a lot of people are seeing them in the city because that's when they're starting to look for food. They're starting to look for food in neighborhoods where when people leave out their trash cans, the bears open the trash can and go through. But I haven't seen one in our neighborhood for a long time, for about 3 years. So, but yeah, bears are so interesting. They're really interesting. And coming from England, where we don't have wild animals or anything that's really dangerous in the wild, it was amazing to see a bear in a neighborhood of black bear. So it was really, really interesting. Let's go back to this. Now, in my last lesson, I talked about making friends. I talked about making friends and how to make different friends. So if you haven't seen that video, then be sure to check it out in the description. And I wanted to practice 2 more sentences now, where we introduced this in the last lesson. And this is the first one, okay? So on Sunday, my family and I went to the party. I could also say went to a party. If you know what party I'm talking about, you use the. If it's just any kind of party and you don't know the situation, we use a. But let's just practice with the. So can you practice this? My family and I went to the party. My family and I went to the party. And then he wanted me to go to the party. He wanted me to go to the party. So definitely check out the latest lesson that I gave, where I talked about when to use my family and I, and when to use me. So look at the difference again. My family and I went to the party. He wanted me to go to the party. So definitely check out that lesson. Take a look at that lesson. Let's bring some more comments up. What did you try to escape, or how did you escape from the bear? Well, I was actually inside, so I was safe. I was really safe. Beru says, what would you do when you're faced with this wild animal? I think what you do is you keep eye contact. Okay, let me bring this up. You make eye contact. You make yourself big, and then you throw things at the bear while walking away really slowly. If you run, they are going to chase you. But touch wood. Hope this is wood. Touch wood. Black bears aren't that aggressive. They're not as aggressive as grizzly bears. When I saw a pit bull in the street, I got scared stiff. Very good example. Someone asked a question. What does stiff mean? So stiff usually means like it's solid and you can't move it. And if you're stiff, you're like this. So there's a difference with body language. If you're stiff, you're like this and you're not very loose. But then if you're loose and flexible, you're like this. You can also use it to talk about muscles. You can have very stiff muscles. At the moment, my back is quite stiff. It's a little bit sore because I haven't been doing, present perfect continuous, I haven't been doing much exercise recently or much yoga. So right now, my back is a little bit stiff. It's not very flexible. But after I do yoga, my back is more loose. It's more flexible. So to be scared stiff literally means like you can't move. You can't move because you're so scared. But in a more literal sense, in a more idiomatic sense, it means that you're really, really frightened. Is glad different to happy? Yeah, it is. There's a subtle difference there. We use glad a lot when we're talking about our feelings about something else. So to be glad means to be happy, but listen to these situations. I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad everything is okay. It's used a lot like this. I am happy about this situation. You have to pretend to be dead. They don't like to eat dead animals. I don't know if that works with black bears. And then Lauren says, yeah, that's true. They don't eat dead things. I remember the film The Revenant when I see that bear. So, a great phrase here. That bear reminds me of. The bear, or that picture, reminds me of that film. So, when you see something and then you think of something else, we use remind. There's some differences between remember and remind that are quite similar. You know, they can be quite similar. But in a very easy explanation, I can say, I remembered to bring my office keys today. On Friday, I forgot my office keys and I had to go back home. But today, I remembered to bring them. Okay? And looking at these office keys reminds me of when we lived in Spain, because we had this in Spain. So hopefully that makes sense. Best film ever. Livia says, bye-bye, it was amazing, my first time live. Great, I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. You have to go back to work now. Why don't other people speak as slowly and clearly as you? Or as slow and clear as you? It would be so good. Yep. My wife and I are going to do more conversations where we speak more quickly in a more natural way. So look for those lessons coming soon. And that's going to give you more conversational English. But listen to my lessons and also listen to real, natural English. What I mean by that is podcasts, TV shows, movies, speeches, interviews on YouTube, those types of things. It'll be great to use both of that. Let's have a look. Why did you move from Spain? So we lived in Spain for 2 years, my wife and I, and then we decided to move to America because we wanted to put down roots. Okay, this is a great phrase to know, to put down roots. And this means to get a good job, to get a house, start a family, and to be more settled in a community. So that's why we moved to Spain. A great phrase here, Sebastian. Thank you, because you reminded me of that explanation. Okay, everybody, let's just finish with this. If you are new here, click the subscribe button and then go to fluency.com/book. You can download my book for free, the 5-step plan for English fluency. And if you want a premium course, go to fluency.com/TFP. I'll leave a link in the description too. This is the To Fluency program, and it allows you to speak English with confidence. It shows you exactly what you need to do to improve your level and to improve your speaking. Just one last thing. Rodrigo says to settle down. Exactly. To put down roots is very similar to settle down. And I made a video on that phrasal verb, to settle down, about 6 months ago, I think. But you can search my YouTube channel for that. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching the replay if you are watching the replay. And be sure to check out the links that I mentioned, to fluency.com/book, to fluency.com/TFP. And check out the description for other links from this lesson. Okay, everybody, I will speak to you in the next lesson, which I think will be Wednesday. I'll let you know. Have fun and happy Halloween.